And my latest book is Notes from a Camper Van. So there's lots of poems about the open road, about driving, about camping in very remote places. On the front you can see us camping way up on the snow line of Mont Blanc. So, but there's various uses for a camper van. One is that it's jolly useful as a changing hut if you're going swimming. So I've written beach hut. And this, of course, is this time of year. I did actually have my last swim in the sea on the 8th of November.
That's good.
Beach hut. Autumn has started. All the best sandy beaches are deserted. And though the sun still shines, the wind blows chill. Keen to maintain our daily swim, we put the roof up, change, then leave our clothes behind and dash down across the beach into the waves, where we cavort and spin, our strokes now faster, as is our exit when we rush back to the welcome warmth of our private changing room beside the sea.
Lovely.
You can see that that's a Toyota, but for years we had Sherpas, or LDVs, whatever they're called, which were actually much more charming. This is more comfortable, but they look like something out of Toy Town, but they rot. So this is called an amicable separation. Dear friend, it seems the time has come for a parting of our ways. No malice, not even disappointment, just a mutual moving on. We always knew there'd be an end to our long, sweet relationship. A time to say goodbye before we lost the charm of all the memories we share. We've spent so many nights together, wrapped in peaceful sleep, or watching through long hours the passionate infinity of silent stars that multiplied before our stretching eyes. I've whispered my poetry and philosophy into your midnight stillness, darkness deepening our embrace as we both dreamt of nothing except how good it was to be alive. But moth and rust now threaten to erode our trust as they destroy your bodywork, and your faithful diesel engine finally protests and splutters into rest. So we finally parted with that Sherpa when we could see the road passing below through the holes.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah. The idea is to have, trouble is it keeps going off. What's next? Touching Earth. Okay, oh yes, doing a couple from Touching Earth, but I do need my props for this one. Okay, well, why don't I do sea sandals first? Okay. My darling husband used to have these, which I found absolutely obnoxious, and we used to tease him about them. You'll see what we call them when I read the poem. I'm very glad to say that he's abandoned them now in favour of Crocs, but this was written some years ago. Sea sandals. Bought in a cheap French market for swimming off stony beaches, they were dubbed his condom sandals. Despite our, I don't know why, despite our mocking protestations and the buckle's deepening patina of rust, the clear jelly plastic emerged again each holiday, to be dipped as years slipped by in 7 seas. Until one windy day we stripped and left our clothes and shoes piled neatly on a sandy beach. While we swam, the sandals were picked for pecking, and when, wet and flapping, we returned, a dapper black-backed gull had unstitched all the strapping.
How long did it take you to train the gull?
It made everybody in the room feel inferior now. Chaps. Judging by the size of that.
Okay. Bikini. Pacific blue, My old bikini rises from the drawer, shedding the somnolence of 2 decades in which a series of more sober swimming costumes wiggled down the catwalk of my holidays. The question then, as I stood sideways to the mirror, was whether my delicately curving stomach appeared concave or convex, a test no longer needed, sadly, but superseded by new challenges. No cheating, no tightening of muscles, holding breath or pulling stomach in. All will be revealed. I squeeze new wine-fed flesh into old wineskin, wondering whether a periscope is needed for looking in a southerly direction. Can Mons Venus still be seen, discreetly covered in my blue bikini, or is the view of pubic hair impeded? And then I'll do a couple from Festo. If I can find out which ones they were. No props for this one. Well, you could say there are. It's called In Praise of White, and I'm very fond of snowdrops, but I also, as you can see, had prematurely white hair. So, In Praise of White. And I'm interested in the way that different months seem to have different colours. Think about it, and as you go through the year, you can tell by the flowers that come out what the colour of the month is. In Praise of White. A month ago, snow dropped overnight and lay for several days, obliterating mud and all the debris of a wind-torn autumn. Now snowdrops spread their tenderness over the just recovering earth, hinting at spring with subtle scent and slightest stature, unaware that their modest purity is waking a sun-starved world to a new year, and gracing gardens, lanes and woods with unexpected, breath-arresting beauty. How strange to find, as colour starts to thread the edges of the hedgerows, that the prettiest purple violets lack the sweet, seductive perfume casually exhaled by their diminutive white sisters. March erupts in exuberant froth of blossom, as blackthorn covers all its sharpest, darkest thorns with the innocence of white. Wait until April lights the shadows underneath the trees, when wooden enemies will play a similar tune. I find myself smiling at the memory of foreign friends who thought that I was taking them to see some wooden enemies, only to find themselves caught up in silent wonder at the sheer fragility of these pale windflowers. Colours move on through the months, from yellow of late April, blue of May, to all the romance of pink June. But still the memory will linger that the first excitement of the year was white.
That's lovely.
One more.
One more if you want.
Okay. I'll have this just in case I forget it. I thought I'd finish with La Matelote. Some of you probably heard it before.
Isn't that in the anthology?
I think so. I think it might have been last
It was in last year's, yeah.
Right, okay. I'll try and do it without. La Matelote. We were coming back from Boulogne and passed this very expensive restaurant called La Matelote. We didn't eat there because it was expensive, but I liked the title. And I might need the words. La Matelote. The restaurant was called La Matelote. The same word as Le Matelot, but ending in an E and therefore feminine. We debated what a female sailor would be called in English, other than, of course, a sailor. Fishwife hasn't quite the same éclat. Shore-bound and down-to-earth, she scolds her husband, wipes scale-covered hands on bloodied apron. Sailor girl sounds far more jaunty, even saucy, a jolly sea shanty of a lass who's good at knots but lacks maturity. woman of the waves, though cumbersome, has a more romantic ring, laid back and offering her ebb and flow, her undulating curves. In our minds, these women all transmogrified into a mermaid, sea-born and always breaking free, like words for which there's no equivalent. Consulting a dictionary to check this latest addition to our French vocabulary, we found la matelote simply means fish stew.